Welcome to Real Conversations with Patricia Schneider, the podcast that takes you on a journey around the world to meet some of the most inspiring and accomplished individuals. Discover their stories, uncover invaluable business lessons from their paths to success, and gain exclusive insights on how to apply their strategies to elevate your life and business.
I'm your host, Patty Schneider. Today, I'm joined by Chris Terzakos. So welcome, Christopher. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me on your show.
A pleasure.
I'm Chris Terzakos. I'm born and raised in New York City. I lived downtown Manhattan, near Little Italy. I was an athlete all my life. I nearly became a professional baseball player. It didn't happen. I'm responsible why it didn't happen. And I went into construction after high school. 5 years later, became a leader of a big company. And 18 years later, I opened up my own business. And my passion is fitness, health, and living life on the best terms I can.
Nice. Now, we'll talk about it a little bit, but basically you are a survivor. So you chose to heal your, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it, inguinal hernia?
Yeah, inguinal hernia.
Okay, naturally, rather than opting for surgery. So can you walk us through the process the process that you created and the mindset you maintained to achieve this?
Yeah, well, the mindset, it's a good question. The mindset comes first because you have to have a positive mindset. Mm-hmm. I didn't panic. I didn't do the oh my God thing. Mm-hmm. The doctor suggested that we do surgery next week, which was 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I told the doctor, let me think about it. I'm not going to rush and go get surgery. Mm-hmm. So I did give it some thought. And I said, I'm going to find a way where I don't have to go under the knife. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of tests to see how, things were coming along with the hernia. And I found a program that worked.
No, it is true that the mindset plays like a huge role. Like, anybody with, any type of pain or anxiety and things like that, but it's so hard to understand how to control the mind because it kind of like is a beast of its own,
Right. It's like a roller coaster, down, up, around. Yeah. It's like crazy. So, yeah. No, so I recommend anyone, facing a hernia, don't rush into things. Think about it. It's not going to threaten your life in any way. Right. And just, you have to accept it. And if you're willing to, self-heal, you'll always have the hernia. It'll always be there. An inguinal hernia, you perforated a hole through the 6 or 7 layers of your skin. It's very hard to close that hole. The only way to do it is with a mesh, which is surgery, right. Which I chose not to because I don't want to live with a foreign object in my body for the rest of my life. Right. I do know people that did have a mesh surgery and they had a lot of other complications after it. So I chose to opt out from surgery, right. Find a program that worked. 15 years later, here I am on your show talking about it.
Nice. So it's at age 65, you maintain optimal testosterone levels naturally. So can you share the methods and lifestyle changes you made to achieve this? And what advice do you have for others looking to do the same?
Testosterone is key, especially for us guys, Mm-hmm. Yeah. Without testosterone, I don't know if we can survive. Whether you know it or not, testosterone is good for your bones, it's good for your mind, it's good for your muscle, maintains muscle. My testosterone level was low. The reason why it was low because I was in my early 50s. I was injecting testosterone, synthetic testosterone in my body. What happens is when you come off of it, your body shuts down from production of testosterone. And now you got to find a way to rebuild your testosterone. And that's what I did. Right. So here's the cover of my book. That's a picture of me on the front. That was taken 8 months ago. Wow. There's no Photoshop to that picture. That's an original picture. And my testosterone level was 81 nanograms, which is extremely low. Okay. All males should check their testosterone at least once a year, especially when you hit the age of 40 or 50 years old. Check it out once a year. If you're below 300 nanograms, you got to get some help. You got to figure out how to increase that testosterone. So my level was 81. Again, a conventional doctor said you're a candidate for TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. Right. I said the same thing about the hernia. I said, let me think about it. And the reason why I said it, because TRT is for the rest of your life. You got to inject testosterone once a week. Your blood thickens. You can get a heart attack. You can get a stroke. Your blood pressure goes up. You got to check your prostate. There's so many things to it. Now, I'm not against TRT. However, if your body cannot produce testosterone, the last resort would be TRT. So what I did was I went on my own. I figured out a program again. 8 months later, 9 months later, I went back to a holistic doctor, took all my exams again, and I went from 81 nanograms, a little less than 700 nanograms, wow, which is extremely high at age 65. 700 is like fantastic.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I tried so many things. I know what worked. After we got the exam, my wife gets in the truck and she says to me, I want you to write a book. I looked at her. Mm-hmm. Now, all three of my books, my wife is behind me 100%. Right. You know, it's because of her I'm writing books.
Nice.
And I said, really? She says, yeah. You can help a lot of guys out there. They're running to get TRT. They don't know what to do. Right. You know, they're probably losing their marriages. So I said, all right, I'll write the book. And that's what I did. I wrote a book, very simple. There's 7 or 8 steps that they have to follow. There's certain foods to eat that will increase testosterone. Mm-hmm. I use food to benefit me. Mm-hmm. Whatever I eat in my life benefits me. Okay, I don't eat any garbage food, no sugars. I can go into further detail if you like, but yeah, that's how I did it. I did it on my own.
That's amazing. They always say that, you know, we're given everything we need to survive. It's just nowadays with all of the garbage that's in half the food we eat, like, you know, even with, say, children's illnesses and things, some of the stuff was never heard of, but now with so much crap in the food, you know, it's inevitable. So having someone who actually did the work and did the homework and found, that's great. And I think spreading that word in a book is awesome because not everybody has the time to do it or know how to do it. You know, so having someone who's done it and it's actually a successful case study, that's huge. So I congratulate you for doing that. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now tell us, you emphasize the power of mind and self-healing. So how do you believe mindset contributes to physical health? And what are some of the practical ways people can harness their mindset for better health outcomes?
Well, first you got to try to reduce the stress that's causing you in your life. Right. Because the stress, it does derail you from a positive mindset. Right. So you got to try to reduce the stress in your life. There's so many ways to reduce stress. Right. But that's one. The other thing is you got to be dedicated and disciplined. Without those two, you know, that'll derail you from a positive mindset. Mm-hmm. If you're not dedicated or disciplined, it's not going to work. So I recommend that you reduce the stress, be dedicated, and be disciplined for what your goal is or what you're trying to achieve.
Right. Yeah, stress for sure. It takes a mental toll. It takes a physical toll, and people don't realize it. But, you know, everything from just being stressed out, having an ulcer. I mean, a lot of that could be avoided. That's what I say. Sometimes just take a deep breath. You know, it's just not worth it. You know, half the stuff people are stressed about, too. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's really not that important. But you have to learn to just take time for yourself, go outside, let the breeze blow in your face for a minute, you know. But people don't realize the significance that it plays. So I agree 100%.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us, as a 3-time champion baseball coach, what are the key leadership lessons that you learned on the field, and how do they translate into the world of business and personal growth?
That's a great question, too. Yeah, three-time championship baseball coach was one of the best moments of my life. I think I was about 24, 25 years old. Yeah, I put this team together. I played for the team when I was a kid. Keep these kids off the street. So, that was fulfilling. I also wrote the check because the president of the league said that he had to do away with the senior division, which is 17 to 20-year-olds. And that's a crucial time in all kids' life.
Right.
A lot of things can happen between 17 and 20. So I said to him, Bobby, you got to get these guys, you got to keep these kids off the street. So he says, I know, but I said, no problem. How much do you need? I wrote him a check. And I said, I'll coach the team. So what I did was I took street kids from my neighborhood.
Mhm.
And then I went to the Catholic high schools where they play serious baseball. And I looked for some pitching. I put the team together. It was a disaster in the beginning because they clashed. The street kids clashed with the high school kids.
Mhm.
And I said to myself, okay, how am I going to fix this? Like, there's a way so what I did was I started doing gatherings, bringing them together off of baseball, nothing to do with baseball, barbecues, let's do things, let's play basketball. And then when we got back on the baseball field, I noticed a change in all of them. They started helping one another.
Nice.
The argument stopped. And I said, wow, okay, the blend is good now. I see it's coming together.
Right.
And to answer your question, I was their friend during practice, and off the field, I was their friend.
Nice.
During game time, I was their coach. And that led me into a leadership position in the construction industry that it transformed. The same techniques. I looked for weaknesses. Whatever I'm weak at. Now, you do the same thing in business when you have people working for you.
Right.
What are your weaknesses? What do you need to be more strength with? Or is it the tools? Is it the guy? You need to figure it out. You figure that out on your own. Now, a true leader respects the people under him. If you don't respect the people under you, you're not a true leader. Okay? Another true leader emphasis, never yell. When you yell, you just gave up all your power. So there's no sense to yell. And when people come to you and they need to talk to you about personal issues, help them. Sit there and help them. Talk to them.
No, too many bosses should follow this advice because everybody thinks they just yell and people will respect you, and it's not really. You want somebody who's working with you, not for you. Even though I get it, but you want people to enjoy what they do and do it because they want to succeed, not because they're afraid. Yeah, crazy.
Patricia, I have to be honest here on this podcast. I had a great mentor, and he was my boss that I worked for 18 years.
Right.
He's a true leader. A man like that is a true leader. I've never seen him yell in the 18 years that I know him. He got upset,
yeah,
but never yelled.
Oh, I've been in businesses where they throw stuff across the room, and I'm like, you're doing your job because you're afraid. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me if I don't do it? I mean, that's you're working because you need a paycheck, but the work, it speaks for itself. If you're afraid and you're just there, it's a shame because you want to be part of a team. So I get it.
Exactly.
Now tell us, you mentioned a desire to discuss how to live and die healthy. So can you elaborate on what this means to you and how it can be practically applied in everyday life?
Sure. Well, first, growing old is a choice. I choose to grow old gracefully. I don't want to be that moody old man. I don't want to be that miserable old man. I don't want to, walk with canes. I choose fitness. I work out 5 days a week. I eat healthy. There's no sugar in my house. Everything we do at home, my wife and I, everything is at home. We want to know what we're putting in our body. Okay. Once in a while, maybe once a month, we go grab a good Italian pizza somewhere. We'll have a slice of pizza, but that's very rare.
Right.
You know, we don't eat any pesticides. We're 100% organic. No preservatives. We don't buy cold cuts, ham, cheese. We don't buy that bologna stuff. Make sandwiches. We don't do any of that. We just watch what we do. We exercise moderately. In my 50s, I was ego lifting. I was in the gym for 3 hours. I had no business in the gym for 3 hours. You know, today I go to the gym. I spend an hour in the gym. That's enough time for me to maintain my health. So, you know, self-care, it's parallel to self-love. So when you have self-love, then you'll establish self-care. And that's what we practice in my house.
Right. You know, it's amazing because I see so much stuff with just whatever gets put in the food. Like I think somebody one time had a can of food, a can of something that they got from Walmart like 10 years ago. And it was labeled, like it was actually labeled healthy, and it had like 3 ingredients, and I think it was like 10 calories. The same can now no longer is labeled healthy. It had like 5 paragraphs of ingredients. It was like 200 something. It's all the crap that they're putting in it, you know, and it's a shame. Like, you know, even, you know, organic, it's better, but it doesn't, the way the laws are, it doesn't have to 100% be organic to be labeled organic. And I see online also about so much stuff that's banned in other countries, but yet we sell it here. True. And it's like, you know, it's a shame how much crap gets put in. And I see, you know, grandkids and things like that, just so much illnesses that were never even heard of back then. It's like, you know, it's, you know, but unfortunately you have to take matters into your own hands because no one's looking out for you but you know. Right. Everybody's looking out for how to make more money.
You know, it's funny. My wife, you know, she's not from my generation. She's from a generation later. But every time we see like people back in the 60s and the 70s,
right.
My wife, she goes, your generation, everybody was skinny. I said, yeah, because of the food. Look at today, what they're putting in the food.
Yeah.
Back then, we didn't have all this stuff, you know, that they put into foods back then.
Yeah.
I said, that's why today there's obesity, there's overweight, there's a lot of complications, there's, you know, a lot of heart failures because what they put in the food.
But even something as simple like, you know, we always joke with the generation, say, well, my generation, you know, we played out in the dirt, we drank from the hose and blah, 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 we live. And it's not that they can't do it today. It's just like, I remember I like sink water, to be honest, better than bottled water. But I remember drinking sink water someplace, and my husband was like, don't drink any water out here. I'm like, why? He says, because of whatever gets, so many people in that area have cancer because of, I guess, whatever is put in that water. So now you got me afraid. So it's not that kids can't drink from a hose. It's just the world is different now. There's so much crap in the soil and the oceans. And I just said this whole world, it's falling apart. And fortunately, the people who should look out for us aren't. So you have to look out for yourself. So I'm glad that you're teaching people how to do that better. Because you can live a nice, long life if you do it. If you take care of yourself the right way, not according to, you know, society and what commercial shows the greatest food, and it might look great, but it doesn't mean that it's great going into you, you know.
Right. And you know, it's not only the food, it's the toxins.
Yeah.
You know, if you're drinking out of a plastic bottle, or you know, you're buying a salad that comes in a bag, or you know, string beans that are in a bag. You know, you don't know that you eat those toxins from the plastic.
Yeah.
And that's detrimental to your life. And it's not only the toxins, it's the pollution today, because there's more people, there's more cars on the road, there's more industries. Yeah. You got the Wi-Fi, you got the microwaves, the radiation is not good for you. There's one topic that most people don't talk about is when our generation, when you died, you got buried at a cemetery. Right. Today, it's more common when you die, you get cremated. Now, when you die, your body's filled with toxins. So when they cremate you at the crematory, where do those toxins go when they burn your body? They go out through the chimney and they go into the air. Who's breathing the toxins? We are. And nobody's really talking about that. Just a few people. There's a guy, Ian Clark. He's the one that turned me on to it, about the cremation. And he says, I want you to go out and I want you to share that topic because something has to be done about it. And I said, I agree with you. And I wanted to share that on your podcast.
No, it's a shame because there's so much out there that should be spoken about, but unfortunately, everybody's looking for how do they make more money and blah, 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 and keeping quiet what's not going to make them money. And it's a shame. That's why I said people have to take matters into their own hands, do the homework, do the research, because if you rely on what the news says or what the commercial, it's just leading you down a bad path that they're making money on. They don't care how it affects you,
Right.
Like think about cancer and all that. I mean, yeah, this has been around forever, but half of these diseases weren't as big as they are today. And there's a reason for it. It's a shame.
That's true. 100% true.
Yeah.
Try to use food to help you, like in so many ways. If you can use food to help you, I have a whole, my website, my YouTube channel, my Instagram. I have a whole stack of information that I can help people with, and just to maintain your life, maintain your health. Why would you want to be in the doctor twice a month? Why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
If you just follow the steps, be dedicated to it, be disciplined to it, and then guess what? You won't be in the doctor twice a month. So
Well, it's funny. Like I have genetically high cholesterol, so I've been on cholesterol pills since I'm 20 years old. Many, many decades, but we'll leave it at that. Now, I went to another country at one point, and it's amazing. I wasn't taking any of my cholesterol medicine there. When I come back, now this is like some time later, my cholesterol was fine. So I'm thinking, well, that was weird. So now I'm thinking, maybe my body adjusted and we can go lower on the cholesterol when I finally come back. I'm back 6 months, shoots right back up again. And I'm a vegetarian. I eat as healthy as I think. But think about it, cans of vegetables. They can stay in the cabinet for a year. How is that? What's in that makes it less? So even though you think you're eating healthy, you're really not. If it's not natural that you grew in unpesticided soil, you're just subject of the environment, which is not good. So I get it.
I agree with you. My grandfather, he had some garden. You talk about all natural, he had some garden. You name it, he had it in his garden.
You need it. That's what they say. It's funny. Like I watched a documentary on the Amish, and they were saying how, not that I could live that way, but they're saying that with no electricity, everything is natural on their own soil. They're not putting pesticides, blah, blah, blah. And they said that like cancer and half of these diseases are almost non-existent in the Amish community. And I'm like, well, what does that tell you?
Exactly.
It's all the crap in our environment and in our food.
Exactly. I agree.
Now tell us, in your book, Belonging to Yourself, you speak about finding self-love and the transformative energy that it brings. So how can people struggling with self-worth begin their own journey towards self-love?
Well, good question too. Belonging to Yourself is a memoir about my life. Growing up in the streets. I'm a street guy. I'm not a college guy.
Right.
I talk about all the ups and downs, the adversities. And I realized years later that belonging to yourself, that's the name of the book. So a lot of years I didn't belong to myself. I always belonged to other people. I always belonged to the company I worked for. I belonged to all the union members that used to come to me for work. Right. I used to put them to work. And back then, it was very fulfilling to help people. But I wasn't helping myself. So I had to take a look in the mirror. And I said, I got to take care of myself. I went through a time in my life, and this is what sparked it. I went through a time in my life, I needed help. I was never a drug addict, was never into alcohol. I got into trouble. And I needed help. after all the people I just mentioned, union guys, all these, nobody came to help me. And that's when I realized, actually one person came to help me, my mentor, my boss that I worked for 18 years, he came to help me, which I love him today. He's like a good friend of mine today, still. When I realized that nobody came to help me, I said, I got to transform, man. I got to stop belonging to myself more. I just realized that, you know, that I'm here alone. Nobody helped me. And I thought, you know, and I want to say something about expectations. I thought a lot of people would come to help me, but see what happens when you have expectations, you can only get let down when you have expectations. So in life, with my wisdom and experience, don't have expectations. Whatever happens, just let it go. You know, if something good happens, you know, accept it gracefully.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's funny because I always had that expression too. Don't expect anything and you won't be disappointed. Even if you hope something happens, don't expect it. If it happens, be like, oh my God, that's awesome. But expect it. And if it don't happen, you go from hero to zero so fast. It's like, just don't expect anything. You know?
Correct. So that's where the self-love started.
Nice.
And I wish it would have started early in my days, but it didn't. It happened later on in my life. And yeah, today I'm 100% self-love, self-care, and now I'm able to help others, but I got to come first.
For sure. I mean, I think this story is going to help so many people in so many different aspects, because most people, you just go on the wagon every day. I get up and I got to go to work and I got to do this and I got to make money and I got to feed the kids and I got to, you know, and it's like, what about you? By the time you hit your pillow, you're just thinking about all the stuff I didn't do and what do I have to do tomorrow? Like, you're never taking time for yourself. And even with exercise, so many people, I just don't have the time. You can't take 15 minutes for yourself. You have to make yourself number one, you know?
Right. So let me say that, you know, people who are listening, I know that when they try or they're doing it, sometimes, okay, now this is the mind playing with you. Sometimes you feel selfish. You're like, oh, I'm feeling selfish, you know, because I'm taking care of me. But don't feel selfish, okay? And you're going to go through that. I went through it. Like, maybe I'm being too selfish. Maybe I should drop what I'm doing and go help, you know, John or Mary or whoever. But no, don't feel selfish. You're gonna feel it, but you got to stop. Hit the brakes, because you come first. Yeah. Now, if you're making excuses not to exercise, as long as you have a floor in your house, you can exercise. You could do push-ups, you could do sit-ups, you could do lunges. As long as there's a floor in your house, there's no excuse why you can't exercise. Okay, if you can't make it to the gym, stay home 20 minutes and do a workout on the floor. So that's just an excuse. I've heard that over 1,000 times in my life.
Well, I try to like kill two birds with one stone. I have certain shows that I love, and I record them and I won't watch them. I wait till every morning before I even start work. I get up, you know, so you set your alarm an hour earlier. You go on the treadmill. I don't have to exert myself to the fullest extent. I could casually walk fast, but I'm watching my show. I'm getting my blood flowing before my day starts. There's no excuse, you know, and even if you have to put it on a calendar, book 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I mean, people will book 15, 20 minutes for the stupidest things, but when it comes to themselves, it's not a priority to them, and they have to start making themselves a priority, you know? Right.
Over the years, so the audience understands, you don't need to work out for 2 hours. You don't need to work out for an hour. Times has changed now with all the new equipment and all the new studies. If you get 20 minutes in a day, you're good. You're good. You get 20 minutes of exercise. You mentioned get the blood flow. That's great. Once you get the blood flow and you can do a little, you know, exercise to build some muscle, which I recommend everybody to do. You try to build a little muscle, because when you get old, you lose the muscle. It's just part of getting old. You lose muscle. So I always would say, always work on building muscle and getting the blood flow, which is cardio. So 20 minutes is all you need today. You don't need that 2-hour stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have the people who try to push that, but like you say, it's not a necessity.
Exactly. You're not competing in a show, or you're not a bodybuilder. Just you're living a job. You have a job. You have kids. You got a family. So guess what? 20 minutes is enough.
Yeah. Now, you've worked across different industries from construction to wellness. So what key entrepreneurial insights have you gained, and how have they influenced your approach to business today?
Well, the construction industry is very tough. You got to have like a rough exterior. A lot of those construction guys will take advantage of you.
Okay.
Okay. And the way I did it was, I know I have a rough exterior. I've been told that 100,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I first met my wife, she was like a little afraid to talk to me. All right. So, yeah, you got to have that rough exterior in the construction business.
Right.
But what I did was I treat them with kindness. The guys would come in, they're rough with their bounce, but I treat them with kindness. I don't have to come to your level and talk the way you talk. I'm going to talk to you with respect. I have a tattoo on my arm. It's right here. It says, always show respect, never accept disrespect.
Nice.
And that's what I told them when they come in my office. Don't ever disrespect me when you walk in my office. And I spoke calmly. And that's the way you need to be in life. So that entrepreneur took me to another level that I could coach people.
Right.
Coach people, talk to them with respect, never judge anybody. When they need help in certain areas, and if you can do it and you help them, help them. If you can't, I would put them on to somebody else who works in that area that can help them. I'll always make an introduction.
Right.
So yeah, so that the construction, like I said, it was very, very tough. You just treat people with kindness, and you'll be successful.
Yeah, there's certain industries where some people do have that persona that I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to. At the end of the day, we're all people. I don't care who you are. At the end of the day, you're talking to you're human. You're talking to people, and you just treat them the way you want to be treated. And then that's a lesson that a lot of people still need to learn. But I think we're slowly getting there.
Right. In the construction business, I used to tell every guy the same thing. I don't need tough guys. If I want tough guys, I know where to find tough guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I want guys that are smart. I want guys that are stand-up guys. I want guys that are, when they say something, they follow through with it. When you give me your word, you follow through with it. Have integrity. You're a man. Okay? You got to go home at the end of the day to your wife, your kids. You got to kiss them at night. Act like a man. And you know what a man acts like? Like a gentleman. Whether you're talking to another man or a woman, be a gentleman. When you come in my office, act civil.
Yeah.
And that's the way I put it. And if they didn't like it, it's like, okay, this is not going to work. I shake their hand. I'll see you later.
Right. Oh, good stuff. I mean, good advice all around.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And tell us, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face while promoting alternative health solutions, and how have you overcome them?
Biggest challenges. I have to sit up for that one. One of the biggest challenges when I lost my sister.
Sorry.
My sister died.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
And that was years ago. That's how I got in trouble. But I mentioned earlier I got in trouble.
Right.
Because I got angry. And I started acting out. I think I was 20, 28, 29 years old, 30 years old. I started acting out. And I got in trouble. And that was tough. But I overcame it. I went to anger management. I said, I got to do something with myself. I'm really angry. I'm acting out. I'm getting in trouble. And I went to anger management for 4 years. And I loved every minute of it. I changed my whole life.
You know, a lot of people who can use that. And again, it's hard for someone to be in that situation and admit that they need help. I think that's what the biggest thing is. Everybody's a tough guy. Nobody will ever say that they need help. I don't need anything. I'm fine. We all need something. So I'm glad that you actually found that road and it helped you, you know, because I'm sure you're a lot calmer now, and health wise, we already spoke about being angry is just more stress, and none of that's helpful.
Yeah. The grief was terrible. Yeah. You know, when you're that age, you don't understand much. You know, when you're older, you understand, you know, death is going to happen. But when you're that age, my sister died. She was 31 years old. You know, she was healthy. She was vegetarian, marathon runner. And she died running. She died what she loved. She loved to run. And she died running. And I didn't accept it. I couldn't accept it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and we talk about that now. It's, you know, because I have, you know, issues on my end, and it's like, you never understand. I wish life just came with a manual. Like, okay, so this date is your expiration date. You live, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. I'm going to be going tomorrow. So just, you know, you just don't know. And, you know, the good people suffer, the bad people die. It's just, I never understand this crazy game called life. But unfortunately, we have to just roll with the punches and try to figure it out as best we can, and know that there's a reason for it all, whatever that may be.
That's true. That's true. 100% true.
Yeah. So now tell us, on a different note, you took an active role in coaching and supporting young baseball players, and even funding the traveling team yourself. So how did this experience shape your understanding of purpose and fulfillment?
It was good.
Yep.
It was absolutely great.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely did a lot for a lot of people, and I'm sure that, you know, it weighs heavy on you, but I mean, you have to know how good you've done for people.
They're all successful today.
Nice.
They got into colleges, they got into unions, they became carpenters in the union or steam fitters, whatever they did, they're all successful today. I do keep in touch with some of them still. And that's many, many years ago. And now I see them as grown men, wives, family, and they'll never forget me. That they all say the same thing. We'll never forget you.
You know, it's funny because, like, I mean, totally on a separate note, like I used to be a skydiving instructor, and I always went above and beyond. To me, the people were my family, and I always, you know, I went above and beyond to help them and take care of them and give them tips and I just do it because I loved it, but you don't realize the impact it has on people. So then years later, I went through, you know, had an accident, went through my own drama. And it was so touching that people would come back, and now they're older, you know, and it was like, you don't know how much, you know, your help meant to me. You don't know, I stuck it out because of you. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, so you don't realize the impact of what you're doing is on people. And I'm sure that, think about people like, you don't know their home life, their background, and maybe they were just kind of crapped all over, but you were there, you were helping them, you were giving them the time of day. That could have been a huge impact in their life that you didn't even realize was happening, you know? So that's what I say, just do good every single day, and, you know, just good will come from it, you know, and it'll come back to you.
Right. I knew at that point, I knew that between 17 and 20, I knew they had to get off the streets in the summertime. This was a summer tournament traveling team where we traveled everywhere. And that was perfect for them to get off the streets. You know, me at that age, my best friend got murdered. I was 20 years old, and he got murdered. And I remember that feeling. I remember going through that. And that's what triggered me to say to the president of the league, nah, you got to keep this. You got to keep this division. These kids cannot be in the street. And that's what drove me to do this.
It just took one person to care enough.
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh. So tell us, what's next for you, Chris? Like any upcoming books, projects, or initiatives that you're partially excited about that you'd like to share with people?
I thought about writing my fourth book. I was going to write a book, or I'm actually thinking about it. I did do the outline already.
Okay.
I learned a lot of things from, I have a 150-pound dog. I learned a lot from my dog, believe it or not. The loyalty, the acceptance that dogs have, the patience that they have. I was going to write, and my wife and I, we did the outline together. I actually started writing it, but I stopped. And for what reason did I stop? I don't know. I don't think I liked the way the book was starting off. But yeah, I wanted the people, I know this is difficult. I want people to, why can't people be like a dog?
Why can't all the time?
why can't we be like dogs?
Oh.
And I get it. Dogs don't have distress, go to work, pay the bills. I get it. But I wanted to write a theme about dogs transforming into humans and vice versa.
Right.
So that was one of my plans. I still do, some business. I have a partner in New York. We got some big projects that are coming up in the construction. So that keeps me busy on that end. And then my coaching, people want me to coach them, whether it comes to fitness or self-love. And that's what I do.
Nice. I think the dog thing, I think that's awesome. And I think you'd make great, people will follow you like crazy for that. Like my mom does like dog boarding and things like, in New York, it's a huge thing. And I always say, like, we can learn so much from pets. They are loyal beyond belief.
Oh.
You can have the worst day and they're just always so happy to see you. You could leave for a second and they're still so happy to see you. And it's like, I wish more people would be like you. It's like, you just forgiving, you don't care. You just want to love me. That's your only purpose in life. And no matter what I feed you, what I give you, you're just so happy. And I'm like, wow. Meanwhile, you got someone else who just, the mailman didn't come 5 minutes ago. Like, oh my God, it's like, come on, but yeah, you could, I think that would be an amazing book. I think you should go with that one.
My wife said it would be an amazing book too.
I think so. Now, anything you want to add that we didn't cover?
No, the only thing I like to share with the audience is just, be true to yourself, and whatever goals you want to reach in life, whatever mission that you have, don't let anyone get in your way. Don't let anyone stop you. No negativity. When you hear the negativity, if you're sharing it, you're sharing it with the wrong people because they're giving you negative, feedback. So you got to, just disconnect from the negativity. And whatever you're trying to do in life, just do it. Don't let no one stop you.
Yeah, good. Amen to that. Now, how can people get a hold of you or learn more about you?
My website is the best way, or my YouTube channel. My website is healingwarriors.com.
Okay.
And then, if you go on YouTube, just type in my name and you'll see all the content on there. And I'm also on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being on the show. Again, that was Christopher Terzakos. Never miss an episode by subscribing to the channel. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me on your show.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Real Conversations with Patricia, talking with some of the most brilliant minds on their journey to success and their recommended strategies. Please leave your feedback and visit pristineadvisors.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Feel free to let me know your thoughts, suggestions, and anything else you'd like me to cover. Together, we can make success happen for all.